Alright, today I'm going to show you how to replace just the glass on an iPhone screen. This video will work for the iPhone 5C, the iPhone 5, and the iPhone 5S. What I've done to this point is taken off the back metal plate, the home button, and the earpiece from the phone. If you want to watch how to do this on your own phone, go ahead and click the link that goes to yours, and it'll show you the teardown video for that. This video is just how to replace the glass on your iPhone. Taking off these little plastic pieces from the top of the phone because we're going to reuse those on the glass once we get it back into place. That last piece was a little metal grill. Be really careful with these ribbon cables during the process because if you bend or tweak them in any way, your LCD is going to stop working permanently. Grab a heat gun and start heating up your phone very gently. You want to get it to 70 degrees Celsius, but don't go over 95 degrees Celsius or you will start burning the LCD underneath. If you're not using one of those handy dandy laser heat temperature sensors, which I will link in the video description below, you just want to get it just too hot to touch. Pull off the plastic frame from around the edge of the glass because we are going to reuse the plastic frame with your new glass that you purchased from the link in the video description below. Now I'm going to grab a playing card and kind of slide it between the plastic frame and the glass to kind of help out. If your screen is shattered, this will come off a little bit easier, but since my screen's mostly in one piece, it's slightly harder. Clean off any shards of glass that are down in this plastic since we're going to reuse it. And now we need to separate the LCD from the glass itself. So we're going to grab that heat gun and heat it up again to that same temperature range as before, just getting it barely too hot to touch. We don't want to do any damage to the LCD underneath. The LCD will become yellow or brown if you've heated it up too much. Now I'm going to grab my playing card once it's to temperature and slide it between the LCD and the glass. I'm going to flip it over and show you what it looks like. You can see that the glue is kind of liquid between the two layers and it's just kind of sliding away from the card itself. If you've enjoyed the video so far, if you feel like you've learned something, go ahead and kick that subscribe button. It does mean a lot to me, and it does help me keep on making videos like this one. Also check out my Instagram. I promise I do more interesting things than just fix phones all day. Links to social media and repair parts will be found in the video description below. Now you can see as I slide the card in that the glue is not responding as quickly as it was before. It's because the glass is cooling down. It does cool down fairly quickly because it's so thin. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sliding my card around here in a second. I'm going to reheat the glass again so that the glue will become more liquid. This is pretty freaking exciting. I'm going to heat it up to that same temperature range as before, 70 degrees Celsius, 95 degrees Celsius. And you can watch the card separate the glass from the LCD. I'm not going to speed this up at all just so you can see exactly how the glue reacts with the card. Some people use wire, some people use razor blades. If this isn't the funnest thing you've watched all day, I don't know what is. You can see that this glass shard is about to pop off. If your screen is more cracked than this, you'll be pulling glass shards off more often. But since my screen's not too bad, this is all the excitement that you get. Pull that guy off and we are almost done. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost there. The anticipation is killing me. And we are finished. You can go ahead and pull that glass off and just throw it away. We're not going to need it anymore. Replacement glass pieces will be found in the video description below. So here's the LCD. When you look at it, I want you to think eggshell because any more pressure than what would crack an eggshell will crack this. And you'll be left with just a broken piece of plastic. We're going to pull off all the glue that we can from it, just kind of rolling it off with your finger. Remember being super gentle the whole time. Once you've gotten all the big pieces of glue off, you can use a gentle solvent like alcohol and just kind of rub it around on top of the glue and it'll just kind of make it dissolve. I will link in the video description the alcohol that I use and you can buy that if you need to. I'm taking a plastic pry tool. You can also use, a broken debit card or a plastic card and scrape off some of the major pieces of glue from the edge of the screen. And then heading back to the alcohol. Kind of helps clear up the last little bits of it. Some people recommend using Goo Gone. I personally haven't tried that before, but it's an option. Here is the very clean LCD screen. Now that I've gotten all the glue off, I'm going to do one quick last little rub down with the alcohol and a new piece of cloth to make sure that there's not any dust or anything before I put this UV activated LOCA glue on top of the screen. So what this glue is, it is an optically clear UV activated glue. I will link that down in the video description below as well. And you just want to lay it out in a pattern similar to this so that you don't trap air bubbles underneath the glass when you lay it down. If you get any air bubbles in the glue, you can just tap it with your metal tweezers and those will pop the little bubbles that are inside. Anyway, taking the glass, lining up the earpiece with the ribbon cables to make sure that it's oriented in the right direction. And then I'm just going to gently place the glass down on top of the LCD and the glue. Remember, the slower you do this, the better, because if you do it fast, it's going to trap little air bubbles inside and they're going to be almost impossible to remove because they are between the glass and the LCD. So if you do get bubbles, you can just kind of like massage them out towards the edge of the glass. But just, the slower you do it, the less bubbles you have, preferably none. Anyway, if you need to go grab popcorn, feel free to pause the video. It is pretty darn exciting. Still just pressing the glue out to the edge of the screen. You can kind of see that the glass will slide around a little bit. This is fine, and it's actually preferable because we are not using a mold at the moment. I figured the majority of the world wouldn't have molds to work with, so we are doing the video without them. I'm sure you prefer that as well. Okay, now that the glue has been pushed out to the edges of the LCD, I'm going to lift it up. The glue kind of acts like a suction, which is nice and makes our job a little bit easier. The goal here is to line the LCD up with the glass, so you want an even distance on the left and right side of the LCD, and then along the top here you're going to see a white line. You want that line to be completely hidden by the top glass. Once you've kind of gently put it in place, making sure that there's no air bubbles or anything between the glass and the LCD, I'm doing a couple last minute adjustments here before I grab my UV light. The UV light is what cures the glue or makes it dry. The glue will always stay liquid until the UV light hits it. I've heard of some guys going outside and using the sun, but I feel like that would take too long, and I honestly don't think it really works that well. So just grab a UV light and stick it over the top of the screen. I did mine for about 20 seconds, and then I flipped it up just to make sure I didn't need to do any last minute adjustments to it while the glue is still kind of tacky, because the glue will dry completely in about a minute or two once the UV light is on it. Now that it's all dried, I'm going to flip it over and then clean off the back any excess glue, making sure that it's not going to stick around. Get it? Now there's some adhesive that you want to use to get the frame onto the glass. This 3M stuff that you see me putting on right now is actually garbage. Do not use it. I would recommend using the sticky tape that I showed previously that comes in the giant roll. That stuff is a lot more sticky and does a lot better job. But hindsight is 20/20. Now that I've placed the glass inside of the frame, I can start putting the whole foam back together again. If you're bored of this part, you can kind of skip towards the end, especially if you know what you're doing. Getting that metal plate back into place, putting the home button down, getting the metal bracket screwed in, making sure that the frame's in the right spot. And now I'm putting in all of those little bits and pieces that I took off in the beginning of the video, like the earpiece, the grill, the rubber bit, the other little plastic thingy-majigger, and setting down the camera and proximity sensors into place in that plastic bracket. Earpiece goes in, earpiece bracket goes in, screw on the top, screw on the bottom, and there you go. Everything seems to be working now that the screen is back into place. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like if this video helped you, and don't forget to subscribe. It does mean a lot. Hope to see you around. Thanks for watching.